It fits beneath a soldier's arm like a promise, short, unassuming, and deadly precise. The AT4 is not glamorous. It does not hum with electronics. It is a single tube, a single shot, and a single answer to a brutal question. How do you give an individual soldier the power to stop machines of war? In the 1970s, when armored formations shaped military thinking across Europe and beyond, Sweden asked a simple, urgent question. How do infantrymen confront tanks, armored personnel carriers, and fortified positions when they are light, mobile, and often alone? The answer that emerged was pragmatic rather than flashy. A disposable, shoulder-fired launcher that could be carried by anyone, fired with minimal training, and trusted to do one thing very well. Designers focused on simplicity. The launcher had to be lightweight and inexpensive to produce so that squads could carry multiple tubes without a crippling logistics burden. It had to be rugged, able to survive mud, rain, and the jostle of patrols. It had to be safe to use under stress, with intuitive cocking and firing procedures and clear safety features. And most importantly, the projectile it launched had to have enough power and the right terminal effects to defeat the likely targets of small unit combat, from lightly armored vehicles to bunkers and doorways. The result was an 84mm fin-stabilized projectile fired from a fiberglass-reinforced disposable tube. The warhead used a shaped charge to focus explosive energy for armor penetration and to create significant after-armor effects inside whatever it pierced. The whole system was compact, roughly a meter in length and light enough for a single soldier to carry and shoulder. Because it was single-use, the tube could be produced affordably and issued widely, and troops could carry multiple tubes or distribute them across a squad without the complications of a reusable, heavier system. Adoption outside Sweden followed quickly. The design addressed a universal need on modern battlefields. Infantry required a reliable, portable capability to defeat or suppress enemy vehicles and hardened positions at close ranges. The United States evaluated the launcher as a replacement for older systems, and after testing and modification, adopted it as the M136 AT4. This adoption brought the weapon into widespread NATO service and onto front lines across the world. The AT4 changed how commanders equipped dismounted troops. Instead of saddling a unit with one heavy anti-armor piece that required specialized training and maintenance, units could issue several compact launchers to different soldiers. The trade-off was obvious and accepted. One decisive shot, then the launcher is discarded. But that single shot could be decisive, collapsing an enemy's armored advantage in a firefight, sealing off a breach, or clearing a fortified firing position. Practical employment of the AT4 centers around fundamentals: concealment, timing, and target selection. Against vehicles, the shooter aims for weaker side armor, the rear, or critical components such as engine compartments and vision blocks. Against buildings and bunkers, the multi-purpose 8P variants punch through light walls and doorways, defeat firing positions, and create immediate shock and disorganization among defenders. Fire teams coordinate. One soldier moves to expose and engage, others provide security and suppression to reduce the risk to the shooter, and a spotter helps pick the most vulnerable angle. Training for the AT4 is straightforward in concept but unforgiving in practice. Because each weapon is single-use and costly, live-fire practice is limited. Units supplement with simulators and reusable training devices that replicate weight, balance, and the act of firing. Soldiers learn to clear the backblast area, judge effective ranges, and control their breathing and aim in the small window between exposure and shot. The psychological weight of having a single shot can magnify pressure under fire, so repeated dry fire rehearsals and team coordination become as vital as marksmanship. Over time, a family of variants expanded the AT4's relevance. Original anti-armor heat rounds focused on penetration. HEDP and multi-purpose warheads added capability against structures and mixed threats. Reduced backblast and confined-space variants emerged to meet the demands of urban combat, where firing from inside a building or from narrow streets without endangering friendly forces is often necessary. Engineers also refined fusing, improved safety margins for handling and storage, and developed practice rounds that reproduce the weapon's handling without wasting service munitions. Combat experience revealed both strengths and limits. The AT4 excels in the close fight, ambushes, urban clearing, checkpoint actions, and small unit engagements where range is limited and rapid. Mobile effects are required. It is not a substitute for long-range guided missiles or heavy anti-tank systems when facing modern main battle tanks frontally with composite or reactive armor. But in the environments most infantry actually encounter, city streets, hedgerows, and constrained terrains, the AT4's destructive potential against lighter armor and hardened positions is often more tactically useful than heavy, long-range systems. Logistics and tactics adapted around that reality. Armies balanced inventories to ensure squads had enough launchers for planned operations, while training emphasized conservative use and prioritization. In urban operations, confined space variants became invaluable, allowing squads to engage threats from within buildings or courtyards with much less risk. In expeditionary missions and asymmetric conflicts, simple, reliable weapons like the AT4 allowed forces to respond swiftly to improvised armored threats, technicals, and fortified compounds without the time and support needed for heavier systems. The weapon's adoption by many armed forces also influenced small unit doctrine. Platoon and squad commanders incorporated AT4s into assault and defense plans, assigning probable targets and fields of fire to each launcher carrier. Ambushes used the AT4 to punch hard at the start of an engagement, while breaching operations employed it to neutralize strong points before infantry moved in. The presence of a portable anti-armor strike changed enemy behavior too. Lightly armored vehicles and improvised fighting positions could no longer assume safety from dismounted troops, and adversaries adapted by dispersing, using cover more selectively, or attempting to force engagements beyond the AT4's effective range. Manufacturers continued to iterate. Better sights, improved ergonomics, and warhead designs to increase effectiveness against newer protections extended the weapon's service life. Reduced sensitivity munitions and safer handling protocols reduced risks in transit and storage. Special-purpose rounds for demolition, smoke, or training broadened the launcher's utility across mission sets beyond direct anti-armor use. Stories from the field testify to the AT4's practical impact. A single tube brought to bear at the right moment has stopped vehicle-borne assaults, opened breaches in fortified compounds, and provided cover for withdrawing patrols. In tight urban environments, confined space variants enabled teams to engage from within buildings without suffering the catastrophic backblast injuries that earlier weapons could cause. In many engagements, a well-placed shot from a shoulder-fired tube did more to shape the fight than heavier guided rockets operated from a distance. Yet, as with all tools of war, the AT4's relevance is evolving. Modern battlefields bring new challenges. Active protection systems on vehicles, countermeasures, and the proliferation of drones and standoff weapons change the calculus. To remain useful, weapons in this class must adapt through improved warheads, smarter fusing, and tactics that integrate them with sensors, reconnaissance, and combined arms support. But the guiding principle remains the same: a simple, reliable tool that empowers the individual soldier with disproportionate effect. The AT4's story is, above all, a testament to pragmatic engineering and tactical adaptation. It took a basic requirement, give infantry a lightweight, lethal option, and answered it with something efficient, manufacturable, and brutally effective. From Scandinavian testing ranges to conflict zones around the globe, the disposable launcher has earned its reputation not by complexity, but by doing one job very well. When a squad moves through narrow streets, when a patrol faces a roadside compound, when an ambush threatens to turn into catastrophe, it is often not the most sophisticated weapon that decides the moment. It is the simple solution, carried on a soldier's shoulder, trusted to deliver exactly once, and to make that one shot count.